In my last video, when I was talking about what are we being called to do, I mentioned the dismantling of anything that does not fit into the Aquarian age consciousness, which is a loving, soft, honest, and healing energy. So, and I said that for the inevitable will happen to all of us. That which must end, that which must begin will happen. What is not guaranteed, what is, up in the air, is how each one of us will respond to that which is our inevitability. And so I saw this beautiful image. It was like earth splitting like this, but quite literally the greenery, the beauty, the waters, the mountains, the animals, everything, but splitting off in a way that is quite paradise-like. And I also saw earth now, and it was as though a new earth, quite literally, separating itself from the old earth to say, okay, this is what is dead and this is what is living. And it's both, we'll just use the whole round thing to make it easier, the way we see the image. Same thing, exact same thing. But I know maybe the easiest way to separate this, to describe this current earth, what it will look like, is like a dystopia, a dystopian earth, a dystopian reality. And quite literally, the Aquarian age is pulling out a new earth. And so what happens with reincarnation now, once this fullness, and now they stand like this, they no longer, I remember for many years I would see them like this, and I would just see this kind of sort of movement over time. And now I just, boom, it was like this. And I saw the separation. And so if this consciousness cannot survive in this consciousness, right? So all of us are being called, being given an opportunity to leave this dystopia and enter the new earth, which is the true earth, because the dystopic earth is almost an invasion. So it's that collectively there's been enough energetic work being done, particularly in the last 100 years and accelerated in the last 50 years, where there's been enough collective work on individual levels. And this is the beautiful thing, enough collective work at an individual level that a new earth was able to be reborn. And it's not a new earth, it's the original earth. And this is why I spoke a lot about Van Vogtanga, which is Banu means people, Vogtanga the first, and its original consciousness, because this is who gives me messages, this is who I commune with, this is who I hang out with. And so when I started to see all of this, I thought, oh, the true earth now is emerging, and it's separating itself from the tentacles that gripped it and quite literally enslaved it. And the only reason why it could be enslaved, it's because its inhabitants were gotten to through the religions and the musics, and the marriage happens like this, and the church and schooling, capitalism, all of that ugliness, that ugly energy, is that it came and enslaved earth. But how it managed to enslave earth, because you can't enslave earth, but its inhabitants. And mother never leaves her children. See what I'm saying? Mother never leaves her children. And so she never left us. She never left us. But it was also at a point where she could no longer allow her home to be infested in the way that it was. And because a mother never leaves her children, what has she done? She has duplicated herself. She says, okay, I'm going to stand here in my truest form. I've come with some, the Gen Zs, Gen Alpha. I've come with them so that they can pull you in. Yes? Some of you were already here. So now we're pulling you all in. We're using everything that is available to us to pull you in. Don't get sucked in by politicians anymore. Don't get sucked in by the priest, by the community, by this, by that, by this, by that. Mother has separated herself from the patriarchy. And I don't like to speak like that because she is so committed to her partner, her masculine nature, whom she manifested outside of herself. That is a whole other story I can't wait to share with you guys one day. But you have this whole dynamic thing where mother has never left her children, even though her children were going through some things. And then she started to, but it's beautiful because she separated herself and kept this duplicate and no one could tell. And this is why now you see the powers that be just don't know what to do, and manipulation is at its highest. They're using their artists over time to manipulate people and just to kind of really keep that spell that they have been able to maintain for over 2,000 years now, and very successfully in the last 60 years through the use of musicians and movies. They were always used for a certain purpose, but the spell was still so strong. People were under it. I mean, it was just so beautiful. Mwah! Where you have people, the prejudice you put on them, they start to put on each other. The racism you teach them, they start to just like, support it themselves and build systems around it. So for a long time it's worked. And so this is why you see now recently there is a major effort, a concerted effort from the artistic space that has always used concerts, music, and that sort of thing to keep the blanket of sleep over people's eyes. And now they can't do it. They can't do it. And so there's this battle. Others will be left behind. So what happens then if to those who get left behind? Well, the simplest way is you'll keep reincarnating into this. And this, if ever you felt that Earth was a matrix, 10 years from now, you will be absolutely certain. And I'm not talking even in the way that people talk about it. I'm talking about the fact that the duplication and the separation will be so obvious. This will become so intolerable that it will disappear. Because in essence, it no longer has life. For all forthcoming reincarnations, everyone will be reincarnating here. Because this is high vibe. This is where people aren't hurting each other. This is where even if people are struggling with themselves, they do it with kindness and with compassion. And, that thing of, what's that lovely quote? No one ever writes who came up with that quote. Don't bleed over people who didn't cut you, something like that. Anyway, but it is entirely that idea that there will no longer be bleeding on other people from cuts you got from other people, from someone else, because you have that consciousness now to say, it's all love. All love, everything. All right, darlings. Happy. Mwah.